afternoon, good morning, everyone. So, in this webinar, we will be covering how to build a high performing team using ThriveSparrow. In the last couple of months, we had released a couple of features and modules strengthening the different aspects of employee experience, starting from employee engagement, performance, goal setting, and recognition aspect using ThriveSparrow. So, thought of covering having a detailed overview on how to adopt ThriveSparrow and strategy to build a high performing team, and also covering the retention aspect of employees. So before starting, right, so we'll see who are the key personas involved for building a high performing team. So in an employee experience, these are the major personas involved: HR leaders and head of people culture, who actually takes care of the people success metrics. And they actually, HR leaders are the ones who actually operationalize the employee experience and interpreting the data, and also decide on taking key actions to improve it. So next comes the C-level folks, CEOs, CHROs, and even founders. So HR leaders, people success people, actually show the data on how the engagement, performance, and the recognition pillars of an employee experience in their companies are. And then C-level people take a broader level decision so that very high impact is happening across the EX space. And it's not only just looking at the metrics, no, which is not working out, but also looking at the things what is actually working out in a company. And finally, the people managers, who are actually on the ground executing day-to-day activities on the employee experience aspect by doing regular check-ins to ensure that the team is aligned, engaged, and on track to accomplish their objectives. So before getting started into the modules, right, so let's look at how why high performing teams actually matters. So it's not just only the performance aspect when it comes to building a high performing team. It is actually the other pillars or the other elements in an employee experience is very important. Let's look at all these data points supported by the sourced from Gallup, McKinsey, and Harvard Business Review. If we closely look at, the engagement aspect affects the productivity, and how good onboarding can actually boost the retention, and also how recognition as indirectly impacting the turnover. So if you look at, all these elements of an employee experience are not directly related to performance, but taking care of all these things are necessary to build a high performing team. So let's start with how this actual framework of a high performance company or building a team looks like, right? So the first thing about, actually recently we launched feedbacks one-on-ones. I'll come to that part bit later. So we were focusing on how actually we can enable our personas, especially the people manager persona, to actually create a habit so that the performance is actually on track and course correction is happening. So the reason for giving a course correction as a main important thing is, so usually goals set the objectives, or even in a project management, or whenever an employee joins, the objective or the context is set. So what is expected out of an employee, and performance review happens once or twice a year, which actually people think only these are the two elements in evaluating a performance. But the thing is, a lot more happens between in that 6 year or 1 year timeline, right? When the duties or expectations are set to the employee, and the performance review, lot more happens, right? So course correction is much required throughout the entire phase. So that is the high level overview of the loop. Let me explain each and every element here. So first thing starts with listening. So when I say listening, it's all about the engagement signals that comes from the employees. It is regular, it is from the beginning, and it is throughout and consistent. So what would I mean by that? So recruitment team, the talent acquisition team, works on a recruitment strategy, understand the job functions, and hires and recruits the people into the company. So you do a great hiring, you hire the right people, or also sometimes it misses, but most of the time everybody aims for a right hire for the right role, right? So in that case, an employee joins the company. The first thing is the onboarding experience. So moment an employee joins the company, 7 days from that, how that employee is feeling, right? So initial onboarding, initial welcome. So the first impression of the company inviting an employee, how that is should be measured at the 7th day. And next come the 30th, 60th, 90-day engagement signals. So how do you observe 30, 60, 90, and why it is important? So 30th day, it's all about employee getting settled down in a company or in a position or in a team. So you 30th day engagement signal will tell all about how easy for them to settle down in a team. And 60th day engagement signal will all reveal about whether they have enough clarity about the role and on the responsibilities they have to fulfill. So 60th day engagement signal will talks about everything about the role clarity and the responsibilities. And the 90th day signal will actually talk more about employee has been settled down, knows everything about role and the responsibilities, and now it is time for them to execute the objectives assigned to them. So this is why onboarding experience observing at 7th day, 30th day, 60th day, 90th day is very important for all the new hires. And listening to all these engagement signals is very important to actually get the system ready for employee to do a high performance. Getting into that phase will actually tell these data will reveal a lot how manager and the management has to prepare to get the best out of the employee, right? And then comes the engagement surveys. Engagement survey is more of an event driven, like it can be conducted on a quarterly wise, or any change management activities or any policy changes. In those kind of things, engagement survey can be run. It depends on how companies actually taking that up. And most importantly is the regular pulse surveys. So in the listening aspect alone, so we spoke about onboarding, 7-day survey, 30th, 60th, 90th, and on and off engagement survey, and now the regular pulse surveys. So pulse surveys are recurring surveys. It is important to actually understand the signals and employee voice and employee concerns on a regular manner. So these pulse programs is actually a very short questionnaire. It contains very short questionnaire of 3 questions. So ideally how companies would run is having a one ENPS question and two one rating scale, opinion scale, and one open-ended text question to collect the responses on a regular manner. And 3 questions is basically to reduce the survey fatigueness. So this regular pulse survey, which is some companies actually run it on a weekly basis to ensure that engagement signals are observed and right actions are taken. And also when I say listen, it's not just listening to the signals and taking action. It is necessary to make the employees feel heard. So whenever someone is raising a concern, it is very important to make them feel heard. That is very important, right? So these elements are all part of the listening aspect. And then comes the alignment part. So once onboarding is done, 30, 60, 90 days done, and all the engagement signals programs are in place to understand the recurring aspect, recurring employee signals. Now it's more about planning the alignment, how to bring the alignment. So this is about setting the expectations, aligning the business objectives and the team is very important, so that the growth and development is goes hand in hand. So employees growth and development is directly proportional to the business objectives. How do we even achieve that? That is how alignment aspect comes into the picture. So with the goals module, what we offer, company can set an OKR framework, or actually run some companies even run rock and pebble framework. That is also possible with ThriveSparrow. So bringing alignment is the next step in building the high performance team after listening to the early signals of an employee during the onboarding. And third comes the recognition aspect. So recognition, when I say, it's not just so employee joins the company, fulfills the responsibilities, help the peers, help the company to reach the objectives, helps the team in achieving the team level goals. Everything employee actually takes care of, right? Sorry. So in that meanwhile, the regular contribution made by the employees may actually boost the results, the increase the chances of winning on a regular basis. Their contribution is much better, And also companies can actually use recognition as an opportunity to um, recognize and implant the culture values to the employees and reward them for by reinforcing them to repeat the same activities behaviors again and again. So recognition is all about peer-to-peer recognition. Is not just manager recognizing on a quarterly basis or yearly basis or a common awards function or a ceremony is happening in a year, but this recognition is on the go. So throughout the phase, whenever someone is actually doing something, going above and beyond, or so in most of the SaaS companies, if you see, customer obsession is one of the core values. Take any SaaS company, and integrity is a common value across most organizations. So culture code, the culture values, the behaviors of employees, actions of employees aligning with the culture values, everything can be encouraged using the recognition module. And it's not just only recognition. Employees gets our can take use those recognition points for claiming rewards set by the company, and we have automated rewards feature. So the reason for having rewards connected to the recognition is we want to reinforce the behaviors so that employees repeat the same behavior, habits, and actions again and again, which is in alignment with the culture values, culture code. So this is all about the recognition aspect. And then we have the coach. So coaching comes, so as I, if you remember, like earlier when I start speaking about, I was telling the habits that manager has to regularly do. Not a habit, but not just ceremonial, but it should be regular, and that's why we call it as the right habits for managers. These two, coach and improve, will come into the face, right? Because this alignment phase is where goal setting, objectives, expectations is set from the employees on what needs to be executed with the time boxed timeline. And in the evaluate phase, performance review happens. So throughout this journey, lot more happen, and lot more actually has to be explored from the employees, so that see it, as I said before, it doesn't matter whether you have a great hire or not. It's also about how the systems run in place, how the uh, managers coaches the employees to take the best out of them. So that is why we have coach and improve elements of employee experience using one-on-ones and feedbacks module. So for coach purpose, we have one-on-ones where employees and managers can track, ensure that there is a regular conversation, performance and growth related conversation between happening between manager and the reportee ideally. And also employees can use one-on-ones to connect with anyone in the company to get any other functional knowledge, or even connect with their skip level managers or with the CEOs actually to understand the expectations using the one-on-ones model. So why coaching is important is, as I mentioned before, course correction is very important. So every person has their own strength and areas of improvements. So when it comes to performance, it is very important to identify the strengths of the employees and start investing them, and remove all the blockers so that they are executing and giving their best, and also work on identifying the areas of improvements and give clear action plans to the employees so that they work on a regular basis. So we offer recurring one-on-ones and also integration with the calendar so that it is in sync with the employee workflow, and there is a consistent coaching happens between managers and their reportee. And from the admin aspect, HRBP CEOs can see in a one view where how the conversations are happening, so that they can understand, because coaching is also a signal to build a high performance team, and also factor to define the retention as well. The reason is that if a manager is not connecting regularly or an employee is not participating regularly in a one-on-one, this is also quite signal to predict the retention aspect. So predict the turnover, right? So that is how coaching helps. And with ThriveSparrow, we power this one-on-one to another level by giving the context panel opportunities. So what would I mean by context panel is, whenever manager sits for a one-on-one with the reportee, so they cannot think about every other aspect of what is happening in their performance, but some key situations or incidents might be in their mind. But what is happening throughout, what are the goals that employee are doing, What was their engagement? What was their recognition received? What is the feedbacks that is received from other employees? What happened in the previous one-on-one? Everything as a context we provide in our context panel, so that this conversation, performance conversation, is more context driven. So this is how the coaching actually happens in the coach aspect. And coming to the improvement, we speak more about how feedback has to be continuous. If a company wants to build a high performance loop, the habits, all these habits has to be consistent, and improve is also another thing where feedback is given and requested on a regular basis. So we have three features to facilitate it. So how a company can implement a continuous feedback? It is not just performance reviews or one-on-ones. There should be a way to facilitate where any employee can get feedback about them from anyone. Also, they should be able to give feedback to anyone in the company. So that is how a feedback will actually flow, and continuous feedback is encouraged without any ceremonial activities. Because when I say ceremony, performance review is part of, happens once in a year or twice in a year. So feedback has to be continuous. It's not part of any ceremony. So whenever someone wants to give a constructive feedback, or someone want to appreciate the strengths or some areas of improvements that needs to be worked upon, feedback module is the one-stop solution for that. And we also support taking private notes, so that that note, anyone can take a private note about anyone, and also they can use this space for self reflection to note down in the about their experience in the company. So that is all about the improvement aspect. And finally comes the performance review, where we take evaluate the employees. We actually recently we released a goal based questionnaire in the performance review, right? So goals in the alignment phase is where companies set the expectations and assign objectives to the employees. So from here we start conducting performance review, so that it is very easy for everyone to conduct, because we cannot, it is dynamic, it changes from persons to person. So in performance we covered that. And also we had made a performance review flexible to implement any kind of framework to be accommodated. And currently in the roadmap we are taking this into the next step by covering the PMS stack, by bringing box grid, calibration, and also grow module to have career growth frameworks in the upcoming quarters. So, and now again back to listen with the exit surveys. So when an employee is leaving the company, we actually automatically send the exit survey based on their exit date. So a survey will be triggered, and also we support exit interviews. So we connected one-on-ones module with the engagement, with the exit survey, so that HRBPs can have the data in hand, using the context panel, and have better conversation with the employees and note them down, so that this exit survey data can be used to for creating an exit strategy. So that, not exit strategy, sorry, it is all about retention strategy, and then improve the employee experience. So all these pillars, elements in an employee experience in this loop actually has to be operated, implemented consistently. And everything has to be, whether one month something goes well, it is important to measure it on the second month. As I mentioned before, course correction is very important, because lots of things happen in a company setup. So it is very important to follow these, implement these habits in a company, and take the look at the data, take necessary actions. So continuously invest in strengths and work on the areas of improvements to build a high performance team is all about this loop. Now we'll slowly jump into each and every module, and do a little bit demo on the product as well. So here, we'll talk about the engage. Yeah. So Engage is all about listening. As I mentioned before, we offer onboarding surveys, 30, 60, 90-day survey, and engagement surveys, and automated pulse surveys to actually implement a proper listening space, right? And we also have AI powered features like text insights, highlights to actually to make the best use of AI and solve the interpretation to a better level, so that taking actions becomes very easy. And we have conversations feature where managers and HRBPs can initiate an anonymous conversation, so that it is not just collecting the employee signal or taking action plan, but also it is necessary to make them feel heard. So that is very important. That is why we have this conversation. And finally, we have action plans to take actions on the data. So I'll quickly show the demo on the product. I hope my screen is visible. So here, like whenever an employee joins, probably you might have tried already. You be having access to all the modules here. So from in the admin aspect, we have a people directory to manage people data, and also we have integrations with HRIS to automatically pull in the data, and we have engage to manage all the listening and related activities, performance to evaluate, feedbacks is to improve, one-on-ones is to coach, and goals is to make alignments, and kudos for the recognition aspect. So this is all admin related stuffs, and for employee it will look, navigation would look something like that. And in the engage, right, so in the interpretation, so we have overview where you can slice and dice the data, see the engagement distribution and summary across the company, and you can use industry benchmarks we offer to compare with the industry level data. And we have grouping and filtering to slice and dice to understand the hidden or uncovered engagement insights as well. So heat map gives a complete overview on how the overall employee signals looks like, where the most engagement, least engagement lies. You can change it using questions and reporting factors, and you can change the grouping based on job title departments to see how things are happening. Also apply filters as well. And we have questions tab to show the interpretation of question level data, engagement score, everything. And we have responses tab to show the each response data, so that you will know how the responses has been received. And also some of our customers export this data and import it into Power BI and to do additional analytics or any create reports. And also to share this report with the leadership team, we have the PPT feature to actually support it over here. So PPT feature actually is for the leadership enablement aspect. So you'll be able to see all the data from different sections of the report and create a PPT, so that HRBPs can pull in the data and represent it to their leadership team. And we have the AI insights. Text insights is one where, so reading the text responses, text feedback, open-ended feedback is very easy for a small sized company for 20 employees, 50 employees. But when the employee size grows beyond 100, 500, the interpretation of text responses, open-ended feedback becomes very hard. So that is why we have the text insights feature in place. So we use a algorithm to actually process all the unstructured responses into a top. We do topic analysis and do sentiment identification and properly plot it into a map into this structure, so that you will know which one to actually ideally focus on. So this is not just sentiment analysis, but also which area to actually focus on. So you will know in this data, so everything is almost on the positive side. So whenever someone looks at this text insights, what we suggest to the HRBPs or folks is ideally look at the address immediately. So the action plan should be moving any topics or the areas of concerns and address immediately to minimize and resize, and from minimize and resize to focus and leverage, and focus and leverage to maintain and monitor. The reason is that we help HR folks to understand that take small action steps at place and see how it works, and consistently run engage pulse surveys to get the data. So that is how it very helpful for text insights, will be very helpful for the HR folks to take right actions. And also we have options to share this data with the manager people as well, so that actions are taken at the manager level. And so since let's say it's a 1,000 member company, and let's say 25 managers are there, department heads are there, and reports are shared. So instead of HR taking solving the major concerns of the employees, managers can solve the engagement problems at their own level, which indirectly helps the engagement score to go above, since data is action plans are taken at the manager level. And then we have the highlights features. So highlight feature is basically to create a summarization. You can create a new highlight and share it, download, and this is a summarization of the specific demographic used. So you can create a new highlight and group it based on specific demographic, on what basis you would like to see, and add custom topics. So by default we have a specific structure, and on top of that you can add a custom topic and visualize it. You can create an action plan. We also suggest action plans over here. So that's how the summarization aspect will help the HR folks to uh, take actions accordingly. And we have conversations features. So in a text response, automatically if you see this text response, like a person feels bad or gives a constructive feedback, so you can actually create an anonymous conversation from here, and managers can be added if required. So that employees know that their concern is heard, their voice is being heard. So this is a chance to ensure that to give them a validity that their concern is heard, and employee engagement. So that is how employee engagement actually works. It's not just taking action, because taking an action over an employee engagement sometimes takes time to implement a program or improve it. But the first thing is making them feel heard actually helps the employee that okay, management is actually listening to me. So that is why we have clubbed all these features over here, and then we can actually move to goals. So let me start with align aspect. So align is all about uh, aligning employee expectations with the business objectives. So that's why we have the word goals module. So philosophy behind building a goals module is actually create alignment, transparency, and ensure that employees are purpose driven in actually doing their day to day activities. Because every day, like, without a structure in place, or without knowing the impact of a task, it is very difficult. No motivation works until a purpose is given to an employee. So purpose is directly given when they are actually know how their actions or the responsibility is going to create an impact. So that is why we have alignment, transparency, and purpose as a philosophy, core philosophy behind building this goals module. So we look at helping the companies to implement a OKR framework, and also some companies use rock, sand, and pebble framework. So we nomenclature can be defined accordingly. Those customizations are available. We support employees to give to make the alignment better. We have different goal types involved. So org level, department level, team, individual level goals can be created and aligned. So progress tracking is made easier, and we also have dedicated analytics dashboard to actually see uh, how the goals has been assigned, to ensure that the alignment and transparency is created throughout. So I'll just give a quick walkthrough of goals. So in the employee view, every employee will land into the My Goals tab. So here they'll be able to see all the goals assigned to them. So this indicates the goals, and this icon indicates the key result. And we have three different views to visualize and see the impact. We have cascading view, list view, and tree view to see the impact. So this gives an overview for every employee to see how acting upon a goal actually impacts the org level goal, right? So that is very important. And if I click on any specific goal, you'll be able to see everything in the goals module. And there is a tree view to show the alignment over here, so that they will know how easy it is, how impactful their activity is. And we also have an audit log feature to track all the activities in a related to a goal, right? So I'll create a goal and showcase you. So while creating a goal, like we tell our customers to actually run a OKR awareness program in the company if it is not done. The reason is that education is very important begin OKR, because defining a goal, defining an objective, defining a key result all matters. So sometimes you might have seen key result being defined as a goal. So objective, defining a goal or an objective is very qualitative, and key results are quantitative, which is measurable, right? So so I'll create like achieve PMF, product market fit for ThriveSparrow as my goal. I'll keep it as my team goal, and I can decide who will act upon. I can assign it to my reportee if and split and task it to the reportee. I can set the visibility, do alignment, so I can align it to. I have a goal, company level goal called 1 million, make 1 million 2026. So I'm aligning it to that and creating tasks. So do competitor research is one task. Okay. Ship 20 features that are better. So I'm just putting 20 as a rough number based on the comp research competitors, and I can arrange it to a number. Save it. Done. And creating another task. So ensure release quality is 100%, right? So here I can actually do a percentage. So target is 100%. So let's say currently I'm at 85%. So I can add it over here and add another task. Okay. Onboard enterprise customers worth onboard 10 enterprise customers. KCV, right? So here what I can do, I can actually change the metric and do to currency. So I can put USD 100k. So this is how I can create a task, and even I can align it to a goal and right hit publish. So goal gets published. So this is how goal can be created. We can customize it based on the goal level and visibility. We have my team's tab to look at team level data, department and my company to just to ensure that there is alignment and transparency across the org. And if you would like to measure the distribution of the goals, let's say every employee in my company should have between 3 to 5 goals. We have a very evident count over here. Can group it by employees, the company level data, and see 3 employees with 3 to 5 goals and apply. You'll be able to see the employees within that range. So here this distribution weight or the task distribution is even. If someone is having more than 5 goals, then the task distribution is not correct. It depends from company to company. So this will give a quick access to them. And we have the overview tab where it will tell you about the alignment and employees without goals, and also it creates a transparency on what's happening across the org. And this distribution tab will give a high level distribution on what's happening across the progress, how many are updated. So everything can be analyzed from here. This data can be exported for further analysis, because some companies use other external analytical tools to use it for their interpretation purpose. So that is possible with the export of data, right? That's all about the goals. And on the roadmap we have goal weightages coming up, integration with sheets, go Excel online, HubSpot is coming up. And forgot to mention, we already have Jira integration to automatically pull tickets closed in Jira, shipped in Jira, to automatically update the key results over here. We are planning to bring it to HubSpot soon, along with Google Sheets and Excel online. And majorly we have AI based goals creation and other automated options, and to be brought into our OKR module. And as a differentiator, we are working out on certain agentic features like goal tracking agent. So that is still in the R&D phase. So we'll let you know once we are taking it up and ideating.
Eugene, I would like to add just a couple of points on the OKRs and the goals module here. So technically being, especially when you're heading multiple functions under you, this factor helps in aligning not only different goals, but also to track how these goals are mapped into particular tasks as well. So when you're having multiple organizations as functions operating under you, goals and OKR gives you a clear picture with regards to what your specific goals are and what are all the tasks which needs to be mapped and constantly tracked over a period of quarter. This gives not only the transparency to the management, but also helps the key individuals who are operating on those particular goals as well. And it also helps them understand where they need to improve upon and where they are lying, so that periodical transformation in terms of how we achieve the goals can be mapped with this particular function. So this, having used this function for a while right now, I can be the voice of a customer, letting you know that this actually helps my team transform not only over a period of a year, but also during the particular month or a quarter to make our performance better.
Thanks, Manoj. Thanks for the insights. So I'll continue with the next set of things. So next is the recognition aspect. So as I spoke before a lot about recognition, so we'll directly see how ThriveSparrow helps in implementing a peer-to-peer recognition and make it reward driven, and how we can reinforce the same habits, right? So just in the home feed. So before starting, we also have Slack and MS Teams integration available for Kudos. So Kudos is our recognition module. So because uh, we thought of having this as part of the employee workflow itself, so that they don't have to switch between the platforms. And also, having said that, we are working on mobile app, which will be rolled out very soon in the next quarter, next couple of quarters. So we have Slack and MS Team integration for giving kudos. So this is how it looks. So giving points, peers can actually appreciate the other one. So building a culture of appreciation recognition is very important, so that this is very continuous and instant, and it is peer driven, right? So I'll just give a quick example. I'll just type giving plus 5 points to Tasneem for connecting this webinar, organizing the attendees. So actually, if you see, will be the recognition will be shown. People can react to it. We have points associated. So Tasneem will get these 5 points to her, and also based on the reactions reacted to the post, kudos post, recognition post, points will also be allocated to Tasneem. So that is how we support recognition. And if you see closely, there is a culture code written here for each and every message. So this is automated, and logics can be set how a company wants to create a org value. So this is automated, so that some any employee who sees um, this post, they will know what culture value is getting promoted, and also what action of the employee is actually connecting to this org value. So this is very important aspect. On a surface level, it may look like a recognition post, but connecting employee activity, behavior and action to an org value is very important. So uh, so if you take ServiceSparrow, right, we actually have offices in Dubai, Bangalore, Kochi and Chennai, and also in US. So if you see someone in Bangalore is actually collaborating with the person in Kochi, and someone gives a kudos, it actually puts in a putting that recognition in a common forum will actually enforce, and also will tell how other people in the same function are actually working across the organizations. So this is that powerful, right? So posting a recognition and encouraging the employee behaviors and activity is very important in a important aspect of an employee experience. And also it becomes a one, this recognition is boosting the employee. That is first act of reinforcement. Second is they can actually use these points to claim rewards. So we have the reward center here. Based on the points accumulated, I can actually claim any reward. We have two types of rewards. One is manual rewards, which is actually created and configured based on the company, like lunch with CEO, Amazon voucher, or extra work from day, box of donuts, anything like that, or even a 1 day holiday as well. And also we have gift marketplace rewards, where it is automatically we use Tango for the reward marketplace, and based on the employee location we'll be listing out the rewards specific to that location, so that rewards are very customized and it is personalized for that location. So employee working in US will have the the rewards related to US marketplace, and an employee in India will be having rewards like Amazon, Flipkart over here, and redemption becomes easy. The workload of admin to configure, looking at the rewards, lots of time consuming activities has been removed by using the reward marketplace. So that is how we are helping, and everything is moderated, so you can admins can decide what kind of rewards has to be shown, and what will be the points employee has to use to redeem it is entirely configured by the admin. So we also have a reward moderation screen where every redemption goes to a before getting redeemed, admin has to approve it, then only the reward will be given to the employee. And so this is all about the recognition aspect. And we are currently on the roadmap, we have awards and nomination feature where we are taking recognition to the next level by uh, encouraging managers and or to conduct awards giving ceremony through our platform, so that manager whenever they feel like awarding someone, they can give an award, and every award will be associated with the points, and employees can use those points to make the reward, claim the rewards. And we are bringing a nomination feature as well. Nomination is employees in a company actually come together to nominate for the specific award, who's so there will be a list of nominees, and other people will be nominating who will actually receive the award. So based on the votes and the nominations received, the highest one will be picked up. So everything is in progress, like development is in progress. We are looking at December for the release. So next, coming to the coach. So already I spoke a lot about the one-on-ones module. Let me directly jump to the one-on-ones screen. So creating a, so we have one-on-ones on the home feed. You will be having a upcoming one-on-ones which is scheduled. So creating a one-on-one is very easy. So you search the employee, you decide which how you would like to sync with the calendar, or you can actually manually create a one-on-one over here. So start time, end time, which date you want, and whether it must be a non-recurring or a recurring one. And if you want to sync this meeting with the calendar, you can sync it over here. And here you can we provide couple of templates to get started, and companies can create their own template and give it to the employees. Also managers, any employee can create a template for their own, and they can add whether talking points should be carried and include action items if it is required. So create a meeting will get created. So I'll open one of the meetings, right? So here, this is my meeting with Ganesh, one of our employees. So here you will have all the meeting details. So you will have the agenda, talking points, and what is added by both the participants will be visible here. And while creating the talking points, they can also decide which one should be going private, because this talking points will be visible to both the organizer and participant. So if they would like to discuss about any personal reasons or concerns, right? um, but they don't want to show to the other person, they can actually put a talking point, hide the talking point over here by making it private. And also there's a common space to share notes, so when a talking point has been made private, it wouldn't be visible to the other person. And we have shared notes option where notes taken by both the participants visible to both. And there is an option to show the to take the private notes, which is visible only to the person who's adding it. And on the right side is the context panel, so this can be hidden and shown. So context panel is all about showing all the data, because during one-on-ones, having agenda and notes related details alone doesn't help. Manager needs to be powered with data on what's happening around different aspects of their employee journey. So what are the kudos that is received, what is the status of the goals that they are working upon, feedbacks received, action plans. So all these data will be shown over here. And that's how it helps the managers to actually have a regular conversations and make the conversations even better like that. And since it is a recurring, they can switch to any of the previous recurrings to see the data. And links can be copied and can see all the comments, and other usability items like edit, reschedule, cancel, everything is available for one-on-ones. So one-on-ones is one of the coaching habit that managers has to follow regularly, so that performance-related conversation happens. So there is a continuous investment on strengths, and there's in areas of improvement that is happening regularly, right? So one-on-ones on roadmap, we have AA based agenda creation, so that we are looking at Jan or Feb release. So and we'll be continuously working on having a meeting assistant as well. So that is on the next year roadmap. So immediately we are focusing on AA based goal creation. So I'll quickly go to the feedbacks module. So feedbacks is very simple. From the feed, you can tag an employee, give a feedback to any employee, and decide the visibility or request feedback about you, or if it is a manager, they can request feedback about their reportees from anyone in the company, and tag multiple people to get the feedback. And you can decide the visibility as well, who can see this feedback and request it. We also have a private note taking section to take notes, self reflection use cases, as well as I can take notes about my reportees. So I can take a note about John and add it over here and use it as a source for during my one on ones and performance reviews. So that is how feedback module works. So feedback module, using it regularly is very. We also have a separate section for feedback to see all the feedbacks given and received to them, and also the feedbacks are in the pending section. They'll be able to see all the requested feedback, and they can withdraw if it is not required and remain the requester to author to give the feedback. And also person who's giving the feedback can reject it with a reason. So if a person is not working with them closely in the last quarter or last 2 quarters, they can just reject that with a reason. So everything is possible within our feedbacks module. So finally, the performance review aspect. So as I mentioned, a performance review is very flexible. So we have goal-based question types. You can define competency frameworks, assign weightages. Weightages can be assigned. So having a proper scoring framework based on weightages is very important, so that the ratings are maintained and it is not very biased. So that is very important when you assign weightage. So weightages can be assigned based on role, based on competency, based on questions. And we have goal based question type, which is very dynamic and useful when running a high performance team, so that their performance and expectations set on the goals is actually being reviewed, and it is dynamic, taking away the complete administration load for the admins to run the performance review. And AI Power PDPs, probably you might have been already using it. We are coming up with couple of enhancements in the Powered PDP, so that there is more refinement, it is more template based. And also we Santosh, one of our partner, actually gave a good feedback on the when he's working with Paytm, so gave a good feedback. We are actually productizing it. That input was very helpful, and we are taking that as an input along with other PDP enhancements. And group reports team analytics is a major differentiating factor against competitors, because group reports is very helpful in the L&D space, and also show how a team or a department is actually working in a aggregated way. And also team analytics for the managers and approvers is very important, taking performance related decisions over there. And currently we are coming up with couple of enhancements like box grid and calibration. So box grid actually will be very helpful in doing succession planning and talent mapping. And also calibration is to give involve multiple collaborators to give a rating for an employee, so that performance is fairly evaluated. And because without calibration, right, two people, two functions, let's say there are two managers in a product manager role, a product management department, right? So one manager giving three, or three itself is a good for a exceeding employee, and another manager giving uh, f- five is the rating for an MVP, and for this manager three is the rating for MVP. So there are different scales are used, right? For every person has a different opinion bias towards a rating. So to remove that and have consistent and fair rating for all employees, so that is why we are bringing our calibration module. So that is all related to the performance aspect. And summarizing everything, so we actually worked understood all the loops like listening, align, recognize, coach, improve, and evaluate, and continuously using that regularly. So whenever whichever company comes, and that's what we have seen in the companies who have been utilizing all the modules in Thrive, because they have very good awareness on why these modules are very important for them. Second, they actually know that performance is not a building a high performance team is not just performance related. Why other signals from other employee aspects are very important, like recognition, engagement, onboarding, exit, 30th day signal, 60th day signal, 90th day signal, and having a regular pulse survey in place. So putting all these together is what helpful in building an high performing team. And also, see, high performing team, building a high performing team is easy, but how do you maintain it, what matters, right? So how do you have it consistently is what using ThriveSparrow and all the modules of ThriveSparrow regularly and consistently using it is very important to sustain that high performance narrative. So this is the overall life cycle view in a nutshell, like from onboarding, recognition, performance, evaluation, feedback, and exit. ThriveSparrow instance all these touch points and have a module or a specific functionality in place to collect all these signals to build a high performance team and also use the data for retaining the employees. So company has to use all the modules. And if you see, the one-on-ones and feedbacks is actually a free module. Whoever purchases any module like kudos, engage, goals, performance, we give it as a free. Reason is that we know the value of these two modules, how it is actually gonna help them in building a high performing team, right? And that's why we have ThriveSparrow, unified data across the entire life cycle, AI-driven insights and recommendations wherever it is required, and also manager-friendly habits to be implemented in a employee journey. And finally, have if all these things has been taken care, and finally, this is what will ensure a employee-friendly experience. So, thanks for your time in joining today's call.